Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. I'm extremely excited about this video. I've been wanting to do this one for a while. Built this rifle been several months ago, done a little video. It wasn't nothing special. It was when I was just kind of getting into the whole YouTube thing, done a whole, like a little quick build video of this rifle. And been waiting to do the full-length version of it and kind of dive into depth, get some shooting going on camera. And I've been kind of holding off on it because I was trying to kill a deer with it. We're about midway through season here in South Carolina, and I prefer to bow hunt, but I was trying to make it a point to kill a deer with this this 300 blackout bolt gun, just because I thought it'd be cool for the video. But I'm struggling this season, honestly. I'm not seeing the deer I'm used to seeing. It's been a rough season for me, so keep up with me on Instagram over at Operator Overalls. That'll be linked down in the description. If I do end up dropping a deer with this, I'll post a picture over there and you can see it there. But I was tired of waiting. I wanted to go ahead and jump right on into this video because I'm extremely excited and I'm extremely pleased with how this rifle's turned out. So now, this is my interpretation, rough interpretation of a scout rifle. Absolutely not a scout rifle, but to me, the purposes that I wanted a scout rifle, this fills those same purposes plus a couple others. So I'm going to go over this build itself, and then I will jump into what makes a scout rifle, what was Jeff Cooper's brainchild with the scout rifle, and explain why this is not a scout rifle. We're also going to take this out to 300 yards and we'll shoot supers and subs, so stick around for that. Okay, so starting off, what is this rifle? This is the Ruger American Ranch. It's the Gen 1. It's chambered in 300 blackout, so it is a 16-inch 300 blackout bolt action rifle. I have dropped that in a Woox Exactus chassis. This is in the Tigerwood color or pattern or whatever you want to call it. Sitting on the rear, I have got this little stock pouch. This is the PIG. I forget the company that it's from. Really nice stock pouch. It's got the pocket right there, so I keep some extra rounds that you can see spilling out. So I keep some loose rounds in there, keep another action screw, keep a couple hex keys, some little foamy earplugs, a lens wipe, and a turret tool. So ODG is the way to go. Matches the sling. So the sling that I've got on it is an OD Green Lunar Concepts. This is the padded contour sling. Actually works really well for this bolt gun. This is an AR style sling, but as I mentioned, works good for the bolt gun. Just the way the contour works out. So if I'm carrying it in a more traditional sense, you know, like you would most bolt guns, that contour actually works really well with my body. It's padded, and then you've got the quick adjustment right there, so I can cinch it down, get it really tight up against my back. I've got the little quick pull right there when I'm ready to swing it around, pull that, and it loosens the gun up, and I can swing it around, do what I need to do with it. So the sling actually works really well for a bolt gun sling, especially something in this manner where it's designed to be like a quick, quick deploy scout rifle. Moving forward from there, we'll go ahead and jump on top of it. So this is the Zerotech Vengeance. It's a 1:6 LPVO illuminated reticle. It does have a BDC reticle, which I'm not a huge fan of. It's also MOA, which I'm not a huge fan of, but if it's what I've got, it's what I'm running on it. I like the scope itself. Glass clarity is really great. I like a lot of the features on it, such as like the locking diopter. That's really nice. This reticle actually works really well for this 300 blackout, so I've got it zeroed at 100 yards with my supersonic ammo, and it just so happens that at the very bottom hash mark of this reticle, that's my subsonic 100-yard hold. So the reticle in here, although it's a BDC and I'm not a fan of them, it works really well for this setup. The scope's sitting on some Talley rings as well as a Talley scope base. Moving forward from there, I have got the Warne. This is the Skypod Lite. I've got that mounted up on a piece of Arca because, as you know, I do like to run on tripods. So with that Arca, I can throw the bipod on, or I can clip it onto a tripod, or I can just take it off. Ain't got to use anything, and it gives me a really wide base to support the rifle off of if I'm shooting off of a bag or what have you. I'm choosing to run the MDT. This is their AICS pattern mag because the Woox chassis does utilize the AICS mags. So if you do get this chassis, you can no longer use your standard AR mags. So I say I'm running the MDT AICS pattern mags. It really is just mag. It's one magazine because these things are extremely expensive, and I was not prepared for that, and I've only bought one since using the rifle. As you can see, magazine is clear and the chamber is empty. Now up front, I'm running the Rugged Alaskan 360. So it's a 36 caliber can. Runs all the way up to 338 Lapua. Obviously works really well on 300 blackout. So again, it's a Rugged 360. And pull it off real quick off camera. And I have opted to run this same as all of my suppressor hosts and suppressors, is using the Rearden device. So this is the Rearden Atlas XL. This is in their I forget what it is. It's like the rainbow finish. And then up front, I'm running the Rearden. This is the PRS 2-port brake. So now this rifle is a lot of fun. Really, it's a practical rifle in my opinion, at least the concept of it. I think that this done a really good job at fulfilling the needs that I set out to fulfill with it. The only downfall to this rifle is it is heavy as crap. Sitting unsuppressed, it comes in at 12 pounds, and then when I throw the suppressor on, that adds another pound, so it's 13 pounds. The suppressor is not heavy, but the Rearden Atlas XL, it's a pretty heavy mount, and so combined with the suppressor adds right about another pound, just a hair under. And so without the bipod, with a loaded mag, I'm sitting at a 13-pound 300 blackout bolt action rifle. Now the weight makes it to where it doesn't recoil at all, especially running subsonic ammo. But for your scout rifle purposes, you know, something that's designed to be used in a scouting role, 13-pound rifle is not ideal. A 12-pound rifle is not ideal. So I can pull the suppressor off, makes it really compact, but again, that's a 12-pound rifle, and that takes its toll on you if you're doing a lot of trekking, a lot of walking, a lot of moving through the woods in rough terrain. Now, talking about Jeff Cooper and why he would absolutely hate me calling this a scout rifle. So Jeff Cooper, tremendous dude, contributed a lot to the firearms industry. Just really a legend. Somebody that again contributed a lot. He came up with the concept of a scout rifle, and what he wanted was something that could work in basically his version of a general purpose rifle. A lot of you are building 5.56s now that are a general purpose rifle, can do a little bit of everything, but it's not great at anything. Well, that was his whole idea, from my interpretation, was he wanted a rifle that could pretty much do anything that you would need to do with a rifle, but it didn't excel in any field. Just a great general purpose do-all. So now his specifications for it was a sub 7-pound rifle. This is almost double that, so we lose that point. Less than a meter long. If I'm running the suppressor, I'm not doing so, but his wasn't designed to run suppressed. I can take the suppressor off, so we meet that requirement. We're less than a meter long. He opted for a 308 caliber rifle. We got 300 blackout, so we lose that point. 2 MOA, this is very easily a 2 MOA gun. That's not a problem. Check that box. Next, he wanted a 19-inch barrel. Now, the reason that he wanted a 19-inch barrel is because he wanted to match the ballistics and the performance of a 30-06. 30-06 at that time had been used all over the world, Africa, South America, North America, taking down all kinds of big game, as well as two-legged animals. And he liked the performance of that, so he wanted to match the performance of 30-06 with 308. That's why he went with a 19-inch barrel, is so that you could get that 308 caliber bullet going at 2,700 feet per second, and you could get it right there neck and neck with the 30-06. So that's why he opted for the 19-inch barrel. We do not have a 19-inch barrel, so lose out on that point as well. He wanted a non-reflective finish. This, I wouldn't call this a reflective finish, so I guess we pick up that point. Ghost ring iron sights. I do not have ghost ring iron sights on this rifle. A lot of what you see is a ghost ring sights with a QD low power scope. Typically that's going to be forward mounted due to the nature of having the ghost ring sights. That's just got to move the rail up forward. So you can see that I don't have the ghost ring sights. I don't see a huge playing field for iron sights on bolt action, but if you're following the Scout rifle, you've got to do it. Whatever he listed as a Scout rifle, that's what you've got to meet to be an actual Scout rifle. Anything else is just a rough interpretation of it. So don't have ghost ring sights on it, lose that point. Scope, a low power scope. I think he preferred a fixed power, so like a 1.5 to 2 power, or maybe even 3 power. This is a 1 to 6 power, so get better performance out of this, especially with it not being a forward mounted scope, because a forward mounted scope's got terrible field of view and light transmission. So I get a little bit better performance out of this. Also get variable power, but with it being mounted right here, I lose the ability to run any sort of iron sights, which this rifle didn't come with them anyways. Now, some of the options for the Scout rifle was flush sling swivels, something that wasn't going to protrude like your typical, a little loop swing swivels. So nothing that was going to get snagged up. So I guess you could say I've got that. I've got the back one mounted on a QD and the front one mounted with a piece of paracord. So it's, I guess you could call it flush. I don't really know. He wanted a magazine cutoff. This does not have that. The reason he wanted a magazine cutoff was so that you could feed individual rounds on top of your loaded magazine, which would be super cool with this. That way I could load the magazine with supersonics, and then I could single feed subsonic rounds as I needed to do so, with still having the ability to keep a magazine full of supersonic ammo. But I don't have a magazine cutoff for this one. Not available for it. He did like the option to have a bipod. So if you look at what him and Steyr done with the Steyr Scout rifle, fun fact, that actually doesn't even meet the requirements for the Scout rifle. It is overweight, even though it was promised to meet the weight requirement of a sub 7-pound rifle. Barely misses on that, so technically it's not a Scout rifle. He liked the option to run a bipod. So what I was saying with that Scout rifle, there's actually a built-in bipod up there on the stock, on the fore end of the stock, pops out. I'm running just a QD bipod on here, so I do have the option to run a bipod on it. And he wanted the ability to run ammo on or in the gun, so whether that's in the stock or on the stock. Obviously, I mentioned before that I'm running this little stock pouch, and I've got some loose rounds in there, so I've got about a dozen extra rounds that is staged on the gun. So combined, so I've got 10 rounds here, about 12 rounds here, so I can walk around with roughly 22 rounds in and on the gun. I mentioned that he wanted a kind of a general purpose rifle, so the two specifications that I could find most common was he wanted it to be a rifle that was capable of being used to hunt with, taking down anything up to 1,000 pounds. He also wanted it to be used in a scouting capacity. This was never meant to be like a battle rifle or something that you was taking on an entire battalion. If you're doing that, then you're failing at your job as being a scout. It's not the purpose of it. So that's why I think that this makes a great option as far as the 300 blackout goes, because in a scouting capacity, if I need to take a shot, I can run subsonic ammo and be extremely quiet. If you get in some dense vegetation like this, or anything with some with landscapes helping you out and got some natural barriers, whether that's hills or vegetation, that subsonic sound does not travel far at all. So having the 300 blackout, I think that's a good option. Obviously, the big downfall, as I mentioned, is this is a 12-pound rifle, and that's just not going to cut it for a scouting capacity, especially when you look at what you're getting for a 12-pound rifle. You're getting a 300-yard at max gun. Bolt action with a 10-round magazine is really not worth it in the grand scheme of things. But it does not take away from the cool factor of this gun and the cool factor of scout rifles. There's just something special about scout rifles. They've got a certain swag to them that I think most people can appreciate. Even if you look at YouTube and you just type in scout rifle and you look at all the views on the scout rifle videos, they're astronomical because everybody loves the scout rifle. It's intriguing, even though it's not practical. Even when it first came out, the idea came out, even though the idea was basically impossible to meet all the requirements, it's still just a rifle that's always piqued people's interest. Even today, when there's much better options on the market, the Scout rifle still shines as intriguing to a lot of people. I think it's just because it's got a certain swag to it. And again, I myself can appreciate a rifle with a little bit of swag. So enough with that. We're going to go ahead and shoot it some more, and then we're going to jump on out to 300 yards. So stay tuned for that. All right, so I'm actually going to run it unsuppressed. I'm running some supersonic ammo out of it. We're just out here at 100 yards, so I'm running a couple through it supersonic, and then I will switch to subsonic. Obviously, shooting supersonic ammo, whether that is suppressed or unsuppressed, need to wear some ear pro. So we've got, let's see, we'll go for the 4-inch plate down there. All right, here we go. Probably put a round in. Alright, that's an impact. Shoots pretty doggone smooth. Alright, now we got a couple supersonic rounds and we threw the can back on it. Just trying to give you a good idea of what everything's sounding like. So unsuppressed, suppressed, supers, subs. We'll go for the smaller plate now. Go for the 2-inch. Ooh, that was a miss. That was a miss. Ah, that was it. Alright, so I can't hit the 2-inch. I got it on the first round, but those next ones I missed. Actually, I need some redemption. Let me grab another round. Can't do that. Alright, so let's throw another round in. Alright, come here, you little 2-inch plate. There we are. Missed it. One day I'll get that. Now here's where the fun stuff is. The subsonic ammo. All of the ammo in this video is AAC ammo. They're not a sponsor, but I'm using their ammo. Alright. So now, as I mentioned, we got some subsonic ammo, and just listen to this junk. Alright, so I got to get a camera behind this. I can actually see the rounds flying through the air, and I'm hoping that'll pick up on camera. Okay, that shook the camera. So you probably didn't see that. Let's see if I can hold everything still. Okay, I missed that one. See if I can hold everything still enough. You can see. Alright, I'm actually going to try going handheld. Maybe you can see it a little bit better if I can keep the rifle still. So I got camera right hand, trigger is going to be with left hand. Yeah, there's no way that you're going to see that because you can't stay on the gun. But you can see that I'm using the very bottom of the reticle, actually one hash mark up from the bottom of the reticle. Makes it pretty freaking sweet. Alright, so now we done took our shots at 100, so I'm going to go put the horses up, get them out of the pasture, set up a target, and we're going to take some shots out at 300. I know we can get impacts with the supersonics. That won't be an issue. I would love to get at least one impact with the subsonic. Don't have an exact velocity on here, but we're gonna do some calculations, see if we can get her hold, and see if we can get some impacts at 300. Come on. You know, there's something that I wasn't really planning on talking about in this video, but I felt the need to. I felt I guess just a little bit of conviction. I felt the desire, felt it put in my heart to talk about it. Obviously, I'm sure that a lot of you are happy with the election results. At the time of filming this, the election results were announced early this morning. Like I said, I'm sure that a lot of you are happy about the results, but up until that point, I'm sure a lot of you were very fearful, nervous about what the future might hold. And I just wanted to remind you or encourage you or just to let you know to make sure that you're building your foundation on the right thing. Matthew chapter 7 talks about building your house on the rock. Now, in this instance, you can use your house as, you can substitute that with your faith, your hope, your peace. Make sure that what you're building on is built on the rock, which is Jesus Christ. Make sure you're not building it on the sand. Actually, go ahead and click off of this video and go read the entire chapter of Matthew chapter 7. It's a fantastic chapter of scripture. And the scripture of Jesus Christ is far more important than anything that I can talk about in this video. So I want to remind you to make sure that you're building your foundation on the rock, because if you're building it on man, even if your guy got in office, if you're building it man, he's nothing more than dirt. From dirt you came, to dirt you shall return. Make sure that you're not building it on the sand, because sand and dirt will let you down. Make sure you're building your house on the rock, because the rock does not waver, the rock does not change, the rock does not move. Make sure that you're building your foundation on the hope of Jesus Christ, which is the rock. All right, let's put the horses up and get out to 300. All right, we're set up here at 300 yards. Try to get y'all a sight picture of what I'm actually looking at through the optic. It's not great. Target's painted black, which works really well for spotting impacts. I'm not gonna say that, that's gonna sound terrible. Now, I'm going to actually fly the drone down there. Should be able to hear the impacts, but fly the drone down there, maybe get a cool camera angle. Hopefully this is charged up enough. Don't have a great setup here as far as my target. Shooting over there's a hill. My target's set right on the other side of it, which I guess is a good thing that this is these rounds are going to be lobbing in there. It ain't 300 blackout ain't gonna be flying too flat, so I ain't got to worry about clipping the top of that hill. And my rounds should follow the contour of the line pretty well, so that'll be pretty cool theoretically. Come on now. All right, guys, I tried. Apparently the DJI app is for an older version of Android or something another, and phone says it's unsafe. I don't really know, so I'm just gonna have to leave that out of this one. And when I do decide to really stretch out this rifle, maybe see if we can get an impact at 1,000, I'll work on trying to get the drone fixed so that I can get the app and yada yada yada. But for this video, 300, we're gonna have to do without it, which it shouldn't be that big of a deal. Show you the sight picture through the scope, and hopefully we'll be able to pick up the sound of the impact. Shout out to Coltac, by the way. Really cool backpack made in America. So if you're looking for a backpack, check out Coltac. All right, let's go ahead and get some rounds loaded up. Let's see, we'll go with 5. Go 5 supers. I really don't think this is going to be much of a hassle to get on. I'm more excited about the subs. So we'll go 5 rounds of super. See where that puts us. And then we'll switch to the subs and really have some fun. Sorry about the dogs barking, but if you were part of my channel very early on, you know that that is not uncommon. I'm just typically a little bit further away from them. Alright, so let's pull up the Hornady app, figure out, do some quick calculations, see if I can get an estimate on the velocity that I'm running. All right, so I think I should be pushing somewhere around 2150 feet per second is what I'm guessing. So at 300, let's go ahead. We'll hold 9 points. We'll hold 9 MOA. All right, confirmed that we are at 300. So we're pushing 2150. Should be about 9 MOA that I'm holding. As I mentioned, this scope is MOA, not mils. I prefer mils, but when you're running a ballistic calculator, it's really not that big of a deal either way. All right, so let's get on target. Go 9 mils straight up. All right, I think we're just off the right edge. As an impact. All right, off the right edge. As an impact, we're hitting the very bottom of it. There we go, that's a little bit more centered up. All right, there's 5 rounds. As I guessed with the supers, I didn't figure 300 was gonna be much of an issue. Now we can go ahead and make some corrections on the velocity. As I said, we were hitting very low on it, hitting the very catching the very bottom edge. So we can adjust our velocity to get that straightened out. But now it's time for the fun stuff. And we're gonna take these off. We're gonna load up some subsonics. So we'll go ahead and do 5 rounds there. Load up some subsonics. 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, now I'm going to be curious. So if you don't care about ballistics and that kind of stuff, just go ahead and skip forward a couple seconds. We can go over this real quick. All right, so I got the subsonics loaded up. My estimate is that I'm pushing right at 1,000 feet per second. Definitely within subsonic. Let's see, I want to know what my max ordnance is. Let's see, my time of flight is going to be roughly a second. Should be just a hair under a second. Still pushing 426 foot-pounds of energy. Let's see. Trajectory. All right, so this bullet is going to be dropping 108 inches. It's pretty wild. Wait. Okay, let's go ahead and get this figured out. I'm going to have to dial. Definitely going to have to dial. All right, so I'm just calling for 34.7 MOA. I've got 24 in here. So I'm going to go ahead and dial on an extra 10 MOA. But since the other one was off, we will go ahead and give it an extra 12 MOA dialed. All right, let's see where this puts us. This should still be holding bottom of the reticle. I added another 12 MOA. Let's see what happens. All right, I heard that hit the tree down there. All right, guys, I watched that round skip off and went whistling through. So I'm actually hitting the hillside right here in front of me. So I'm gonna come up a little bit more, holding very tip top of the target. Now these are misses, but it sounds freaking wild when it's going through the woods down there. All right, still dropping underneath. So let's go ahead and add another 5 MOA. This sounds like freaking laser beams, dude. Oh my gosh, that sounds so wild. I do want to get an impact though. Don't want to waste too many rounds. Might have to come back at it with a little bit more capable optic, something with a little bit more hold. Huh. I think it might be going a little bit high now. Alright, I saw that round come in. Alright, we're still hitting really low. Let's go ahead and crank this hog. Alright, so we're at, see, I've got, what have I got in here? I've got 24 MOA in there. And I've dialed on another 28 MOA. So what does that put us at? Is that like 52 MOA? If my math's serving me correctly. All right, figure this junk out. That's a hit. As an impact. Impact. That was a miss. See if we can get one more. Impact. Whew, all right, so we're dialed a total of, we're holding 52 MOA. So we're holding 28 dialed, no, holding 24, dialed 28. So a total of 52 MOA. We're getting impacts with 300 blackout subsonics at 300 yards. Got very little energy at that distance, but we got it done. So with that being said, I appreciate you watching. Be sure to check the description down there for some discount codes. My Instagram account if you want to keep up with all the action going on. I appreciate you watching. I'll catch you on the next one.